Today. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, that came on faster than ever before. Usually I get at least 10 seconds. I see you already jumping on. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, I have Alex here today. We are going to be talking all about wellness. So get comfortable as we explore the triumphs and the challenges faced by women worldwide. We're going to be offering insights, inspiration, not only to fuel your personal, but also your professional growth. So let's jump right in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
If you're listening live, welcome. If you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can drop you some love in the comments. We are here every day delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've interviewed over 600 women, and today we are adding another one to the list. We have Alex Ayodele. Ayodele. She was close. She was born and raised in the vibrant community of Denver, Colorado, where fostering connections and embracing diversity are ingrained values. She is a wife and a mother of 2 girls and works as a health coach, helping people detox their minds, bodies, and lifestyles. She helps clients develop and meet personal wellness goals by building awareness of feelings, mindsets, and behaviors, and also implementing healthy lifestyle changes. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Miss Sabrina Victoria. I appreciate you and Her Nation for having me.
Yes, girl. I'm so excited for this. And we're like halfway through the year. School's starting again, right? A lot of us ladies are thinking to ourselves, I can finally get into my rhythm. I can finally get back into my routine because my kids are messing it up. So I think this is a great topic right now. First of all, why wellness?
Wellness. Honestly, wellness for me means more than just eating clean and getting a facial every now and again. Wellness is literally every day I focus on feeling good absolutely every single day, all day. And, teaching people do that is my societal contribution. So that's why.
I love that. Good for you. How
Mhm.
long has this been a passion of yours?
For quite some time, it started, my mother was always a little health guru. My grandmother was a little yoga guru and yogi, I should say. And I had my gallbladder removed when I was 17 years old. So that's where I became very mindful of the food that I was putting in my body. And I was an athlete. So it wasn't until 2018 that I became a licensed esthetician, but more on the holistic side, and worked for a non-toxic skincare company and just completely fell deep into this integrative world. And it's led me to amazing places, and not only professionally but personally.
I know you talk a lot about, um, we all know what to do,
Mhm,
but for some reason we're not doing it. So I
mhm,
know you talk a lot about feelings.
mhm,
Can you dive into that a little bit? How it's not about what we know, but
mhm.
it's about how we feel.
Yeah. Um, yeah, a big part of my 6-month program, I'm a health coach now. And I work with people that have never really explored health and wellness, but I also work with professionals that have worked so hard in their careers that they've neglected their health and wellness. So it's not necessarily that they don't know what to do anymore. It's just like, how do they do it? And a lot of the times, the feelings of being overwhelmed stops us from doing what we know we should be doing. And that's where I come in. And It's like, okay, are you focusing on facts or are you focusing on feelings? Because feelings are always temporary. And if you can just get beyond how you feel and focus on the fact that if you implement a healthier diet, a healthier sleep regimen, a little spirituality, a little bit of social, a little bit of joy, then you can focus on like factually creating the world that you want to live in.
Ooh, okay, I love this. So when you're talking about feelings, you're actually talking about we don't always feel like doing the right thing with our health and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
Or
need
our
to,
feelings, I think too, because our our feelings drive our decisions, right? Like if we're angry, if we're sad, if we're, if we're depressed, if we're experiencing some type of intense feeling, it has some type of crossover in our decision making, especially around food. But then there's also the side where it's like the food that we're eating has an impact on our feelings. So it's bridging that gap and trying to understand like, okay, if I don't support myself, of course I'm going to feel like this.
yes. Okay. I love this so much. This is going deep really fast. And we're gonna take this in an area here because I know, and I'm certain you know, people don't know that food impacts their emotion.
Hmm.
So can we talk about maybe some examples?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll use myself as an example. Typically around Christmas, or let's say Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, my schedule's crazy. My husband has a whole bunch of corporate events. I'm spread thin. And typically we're eating a lot and we might be drinking more than we usually do. And those are, that's like the foundation for not necessarily feeling your best. And if you're like after a Thanksgiving day and then like 2 weeks or however many weeks later it's Christmas, but there's so many parties in between that and there's so many events in between that, and you're stopping at this house and that house and this event and that event, and you're eating and drinking all the foods that are being served there that you wouldn't typically eat in like January through July, you're gonna feel those the impact that this type of diet has on your body. So like I said, I'll use myself as an example, and I typically don't drink that much and I try to stay away from refined sugar. But around Christmas time, around Thanksgiving time, I'm in the kitchen. I'm making all the things that I want to eat, and even though it's organic, it's high quality, like, it doesn't matter. If I'm having a piece of pie for 5 days in a row, I'm gonna start get some eczema. I might feel a little, drowsy. I might have brain fog. My sleep might be, impaired, and my emotional capacity to take care of my children might shorten a little bit because there's all these things that I'm putting in my body that are not supporting my hormones. And if I'm not supporting my hormones, then that's just kind of like a recipe for a disaster. But, this can spiral into so many different things because then you want to bring in gut health and, what sugar does to our gut health, what alcohol does to our gut health. So, yeah, that's one a prime example is like seasons of our life where we have to have a different type of discipline so that we can support like our everyday lives. And that's something everyone struggles with. But if you go into a season prepared and planned and have um some boundaries, then you can probably balance it all and set yourself up for success.
Absolutely. While you were mentioning all of those symptoms of things that happen to us because of certain foods that we eat. It reminded me of all of the drugs that we take to mask those things, right? So we start getting headaches or migraines, not feeling so well, stomach aches, so we're popping aspirins and Tylenols and Tums. Because people don't necessarily correlate it with food. They just think
Right.
that they have a headache.
Yeah.
And so then we're masking it with no big deal, a couple of Advil, and they don't even realize that they could have combated it by just not eating whatever it was.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's, before becoming a health coach, I was an esthetician for Tata Harper, non-toxic skincare company. She's like the leading pioneer of clean beauty. And I was one of her national trainers, and I specialized in problematic skin because I too at one point had acne, and learned very quickly that it was either like a topical reaction form of acne, or it was from my gut. And I actually got out of the field because I was helping people build regimens and spend thousands of dollars on products that wasn't going to fix their skin because they were eating an excessive amount of cheese, an excessive amount of gluten. And, depending on their blood type or her blood type, because this is her talk show, um, there are specific avoids that need to be left alone based on someone's blood type. And that's kind of going way too deep, way too fast. But yes, avoiding certain foods and not having an amount of sugar can definitely help restore a healthy body and a healthy mind.
Absolutely. When you're talking about, your healthy body, your healthy mind, it kind of reminds me of, a detox. I know that you help individuals detox their bodies, their lifestyles. And you talk a lot about like self-discipline or accountability. And I know that this is one of the issues, right? It's like, how do you become self-disciplined? How do you start holding yourself accountable? What are some pointers that you can give to, we have a bunch of people watching live right now, to the individuals watching live or on the replay, as far as how do we start cultivating some self-discipline, or how can we create accountability in our lives?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of writing things down. So if you have
Like goals?
yes. So every client of mine, I require them to write all their goals within 6 months, what they want to meet. And I ask them to be specific as possible because 100% of the time, everybody's like, oh, I want to lose 12 pounds. I want to lose 8 pounds. I want to like what I see in the mirror. And I'm like, okay, write it on paper. Because once you write things down, you get it out of your brain and you create energy within, this atmosphere in this universe. But the other thing is, I'm pretty direct in terms of like, we make the hard things harder just by the language that we use around areas in our life that are hard. So I'll just use the dishes, for example. Like, man, I got to do these dishes is much different than, okay, let's get it done. Or like, there's a huge difference in like saying to, a younger child, lock the door because I don't want anyone to take you, compared to lock the door because I want you to be safe.
Okay.
So when it comes to discipline and accountability, it's the thoughts that you're allowing yourself to believe. And if you can just wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I want to be healthier. I want to make healthier decisions. And that's kind of your mantra and your daily mantra that you say to yourself every single day, or you know, if you don't want to exercise, you're like, I don't want to exercise, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to exercise. It's just those small little emotional tricks that you can kind of coach yourself up to execute and achieve your goals. Um, that's a small little thing, but there's also a few exercises I do with a clients. I do with the Me Web, and it's where they get a piece of paper, they create their whole bubble. They're right in the center, and they branch out webs of parts of their lives that they're connected to, and I have them circle everything in blue that keeps them like pure in a good space and happy, and then everything in red is draining them. And so we look at everything in red and we say, okay, what is taking from you that is not supporting your accountability and distracting you from really becoming disciplined? And just like the visual of that allows people to see, like, wow, there are really some areas in my life that I can let go of, that I could potentially give more time to the things that, you know, actually need me, such as like making a home cooked meal or reading a book to my kid or getting up in the morning and exercising.
Okay, so the one side is red draining you. What's the good side? Blue?
Yep. Blue.
Blue is
Blue
what?
is blue is everything that is supporting you,
Support.
or that you're passionate about, or that, you know, that brings you joy.
Okay, what happens if something on the red side is like your freaking kids?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's the
then
thing for moms. Like maybe
that
not
is a
every
thing for
day,
them.
but
Mhm.
like sometimes they're on the red side. So how do we deal with that?
Well, that's when like we have to look at, okay, what else is red? What else is taking from me that I could potentially be giving to my kids? So, all right, I'll use myself as an example. Every month I create my calendar and I look at, okay, these are the dates that I have, like non-negotiables. These are all my appointments. These are my kids. Like, this is my family calendar. All right. So, our personal wellness and our social environment is very important, especially to women. We need social connection. But in this phase of my life, I can only afford two two days out of the month to, you know, go to dinner with my friends or go have a spa day. But and that's all I can commit to right now, because I'm trying to build a practice. I'm trying to like do all these other things in my professional world and take care of my family and support my kids. So if I have like, even though having girl time, going out to dinner, being social is fun, but if it's taking away from my capacity to take care of my kids, I have to set limits and I have to set boundaries. So if I start having 2, 3, 4 nights with my girlfriends, that's taking away from my emotional capacity for my kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so for someone that, you know, is drained, let's say she doesn't have a social life and her kids do drain her, I think she has to look at like, okay, am I drained because I'm not doing what I want to be doing? Or am I drained because I'm not supporting myself as a mother, which goes into like, am I eating? Am I sleeping? Am I resting? And because children, I feel like children, like, they're our future leaders. They deserve all of us.
Mhm.
And you know, if for me, if that means I have to sacrifice some of my personal time for a temporary phase of the life, then I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. Speaking of sacrifice, when it comes to eating, when it comes to sleeping, self-care practices that you're talking about, um, the time in the day, when you try to fit all the healthy things in, right? Quality time. Let's say there's not any extracurriculars. How do we balance, are we supposed to be working out every single day? Are we supposed to be meal prepping every single day or every week? Are we supposed to be like, how do we balance, 20 things that we're supposed to be doing every single day to be doing it, throughout the whole week, but there's only enough time for 10 of those?
Hmm.
How do we figure that out? Is there a chart for that?
Hmm. Yeah, so that's a great question. You're like, it's almost like you see me clearly. So aside from my calendar, my monthly calendar, every Sunday night I look at my week and I write, August 5th through August 11th. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, in order, I list the things that I want to get done. So, first things usually workout. I want to work out before, have some me time before my day starts and I got to start pouring into my kids. I want to work out. I have some coaching. I drop my kids off. I have coaching calls. I have social media content that I got to get done. And then, I have family business and I have dinner. So I do that for every single day based off whatever is going on in my life during that week. And that's when I'm like, okay, I typically, this is me. I'm the health coach expert. I'm not expecting anybody to like live up to this standard. But I cook Sunday through Thursday. And that's what I've committed to. That's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I know I can do. But let's say I have a work event on Wednesday.
Mhm.
If I look at my whole week and I write it out, I'm gonna maybe say, you know what? It's gonna be like a mini dinner for my kids, or I'm just gonna skip Wednesday and I'm not gonna cook 5 nights a week, or I'll cook on Saturday instead. So it's all about being flexible, but it's also about being planning and preparing, and really just putting yourself in the like winning lane, you know? And I'm huge on energy, I'm huge on spirituality. And again, same as like the me web where you figure out what's draining you, even on the lists, I cross everything out that I've gotten done in red, and then I circle everything in blue that I'm like, all right, angels, delegate this for me. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but I want this done. And you'll see how much time you actually have, extra time you have at the end of the week or at the end of the day, once you like visually cross off these lists. And then you also see like, oh, if I just put it out there in the universe, and if I just ask and if I focus on what I want, I'm going to get it. But you have to have a clear mind. That's like one of the most important things is being a mom and a woman is living every day with a clear mind and doing what you need to do to maintain that. Not every day is going to be perfect. Not every week is going to be perfect. But if you're at least planning and preparing, your flexibility is going to be one of none, and you're going to be able to do a lot more than you even thought was possible.
Yeah. I like this. Put yourself in the winning lane.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many times we're not intentional. We're just kind of like flying by the seat of our pants, just wherever the wind takes us. And then like super confused when like all the stuff doesn't get done.
Well, and we also put ourselves automatically, before we even think about it, before we even execute it, we're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. Like, it's all about like what we're allowing ourselves to believe.
Hmm.
And you put yourself in the losing lane if you're already verbally like, I'm not going to get this done.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, I know you talk about discovering sacred ways to eat and sleep.
Mhm.
What does this mean? My imagination is just going wild when I think of the word sacred along with eating and sleep.
I'm curious to know, like, what are some things that come to mind for
I
you?
don't know. I'm thinking very like fantasy, like
Mhm.
woo woo. Like I'm imagining like
Yeah.
a lot of a lot of
So, you know, I look at a lot of the like, you know, we have amazing medical doctors that really take the time to know their patients, right? Unfortunately, our system isn't built up on like every doctor being that way and having some type of emotional intelligence to really tap into like the root cause of what's going on and why they're in their office. And that's because as a society, we look at everybody as the same usually. And we're all bio individuals, right? We're all uniquely different. And in my practice, I look at my clients as like one of none. They are one of one. And they I study them and I observe them and I help them understand that like what works for you might not work for somebody else and what works for somebody else might not work for you. And when we discovered sacred ways to eat, sleep, act on self-care, it's because it's works within their lifestyle. It works within their phase of life that they're in. And food is so emotional. Food is like probably one of the most emotional things, you know, within human existence because when we gather around a table, or if we've never gathered around a table and we've always been, used to eating by ourselves, or if we had food, if we didn't have food, everyone is so different. And when you discover sacred ways to eat, you're usually not only feeding like yourself for fuel, but you're also feeding the emotional side of you that was established like when you were 5, 6, 7 years old. And it's really just walking down that path with my client and helping them like, what's important to me is like I like to go have gummy bears every now and again because that's what I used to do with my dad as a kid. And it's like, okay, well, that's like a sacred thing for somebody, right? And but it's also like you have to be aware of the times that you're actually doing that act, because if you're doing it because you're emotionally sad or you're emotionally unstable, then that's not necessarily supporting you. So the word sacred is key because it has to put you in keep you in alignment with your goals.
Mm. Which going back to the importance of writing down your 6-month goals
Yeah,
in a positive way.
in a positive way. What you want to feel like, what you want to see. But most importantly, like my goal for every single one of my clients is for them to wake up and feel like, wow, I have energy and I feel blessed to be here.
Mm, that's good.
So,
That's great.
yeah.
Well, we have a ton of people watching live. I'm sure even more so on the replay. We're obviously getting a really good idea of, um, what you do. I'd love for you to talk a little bit to the audience regarding, for those that are really hearing you, they're picking up what you're putting down. Who should be reaching out to you? Who do you help?
Yeah. I help, I'm really good with professionals who travel nonstop and are trying to figure out like, man, like I travel 4 times out of like I'm gone 4 days out of the week. Like, how do I maintain a healthy lifestyle on the go Some of those C-suite executives where they've kind of neglected their whole health and wellness journey, and they have the resources to eat healthy and to, they have all the fancy apps and gadgets and everything, but really need to reconnect with themselves and reignite their true purpose and find themselves within their professional career instead of being their actual professional career. And also, people that are really seeking a positive change, someone that's struggling with obesity or hypertension or diabetes, anyone that really just needs some support and understanding and don't really know where to start. And there's also a group of people that I really appreciate that are like, man, I am on this health journey and I am doing the things, but there's so many greenwashing products out there. I don't know who to trust. And that's where I mentioned earlier, I specialize in problematic skin, and I'm amazing with product knowledge when it comes to skincare, hair care, and of course, food and what we keep in our fridge and the brands that we keep in our pantry and the products that we're cleaning our homes with. So anyone that's really trying to, um, you know, navigate through like the weeds.
It's good. Where can people find you? They wanted to find you on social. Where do you hang out? Websites?
Yeah. So I live in South Florida. And you can find me on Instagram. I'm most active at Alex Ayodele, AYODELE_, or my website, alexayodele.com. And you can reach out to me and work with me. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I'm not as savvy on there. And again, it's like one of those things where like I pour into what helps me, and Instagram is my most active platform.
Very cool. For those of you listening live or on the replay, it sounds like you're most active on Insta. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Insta. And then her website, alexayodele.com. It isn't a clickable link. So wherever you're watching us at, just scroll through the description and you'll see her clickable link in the description. You can go ahead and click on that and check out all the goodness that she has to share. Make sure you connect with her on social. That's so important. This is how we continue to speak to each other, connect with each other, and help each other rise. Any closing thoughts, Alex, as we start to close up here?
Yeah, I think like the one thing, if someone's not in a space where they're ready to reach out to me or work with a health coach or any type of health coach, I think the number one thing I want people to take from this is just be mindful of the thoughts that you're allowing yourself to believe, because you can totally change the trajectory of your day, your weeks, your months, your life if you just have more positive self-narrative.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that brings us to an end of yet another incredible episode of Her Talk Show. Thank you, Alex, for sharing so much awesomeness with us. I took a ton of notes, ton of golden nuggets. I certainly hope that those of you listening live or on the replay also took some notes. And always rewatch. Remember to follow. Remember to like, share. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. You are a goddess and your energy is incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Sabrina Victoria. I am your host here. For the ladies, I would love for you to join Her Nation. We are on Facebook. That link is also in the description below. This is where we hang out. We have conversations just like this one to make sure that you're getting lifted up every step of the way, not only in your personal life, but also your professional life.